Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Wednesday, November 9th. We have all you need to know about the current status of local and statewide elections, including governor and Pennsylvania Senate.
We also have more on the opioid crisis continuing in West Virginia, along with entertainment, sports, and weather. Stay tuned.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Madeline Zarkoski.
And I'm Zachary O'Brien.
Pennsylvania officially has a new governor. The Associated Press called Democratic candidate Josh Shapiro as the winner of the gubernatorial election. With 93% reporting, Shapiro received 55.6% of the total votes. Current reporters state over 5 million Pennsylvanians cast in their ballot for this election. Shapiro is currently the Attorney General of Pennsylvania. His opponent, Doug Mastriano, is a retired colonel and a Republican state senator. The New York Times reports Mastriano was an essential figure in trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election.
The State House gained another Democrat from Centre County in this year's midterm election with Scott Conklin. The incumbent earned a 62% majority of votes from the 77th District in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. His Republican opponent, Steve Yetsko, received less than 40% of votes. This is Conklin's 9th term serving the 77th District. He currently serves as the Democratic chair of the House State Government Committee in Harrisburg. In his latest term, Conklin said he is going to focus on issues such as abortion rights, economic inflation, minimum wage, and other challenges failed by his district. Prior to these midterm elections, organizations across campus were setting up resources and events to get Penn State students and community members prepared to vote. Field reporter Abby Rockovic took to the Hub Robinson Center on Election Day to see the outlook of student voters. Take a look.
Penn State students voted in Tuesday's general election, with Pennsylvania governor and U.S. senator position up for grabs. Just outside the voting station at the Hub Robinson Center, booths for Senate candidates John Fetterman and Dr. Mehmet Oz shared information on the candidates to prospective voters before heading to the polls. Nonpartisan group PSU Votes also held a booth with senior Dave and Guy explaining how the election process has been a learning experience, not only for the first-time voters, but for returning voters such as himself.
Sometimes we have people come up and be a little confused. Or we've also been learning new things today because Pennsylvania makes it a little bit more difficult than some other states.
Penn State has many first-time voters, people whom, Ben Golmer says, are the voice of the future.
I think it's important that younger people get more involved in voting because their voice does matter. And if people's voices do want to be heard, I think it's important that they exercise the right to vote.
For those living on campus, they had the opportunity to vote at the Hub Robinson Center. For those living in White Course apartments in downtown, they voted at local polling stations. The next election will take place in 2024 and will include the presidential ballot. Reporting from Old Main, this is Abby Rockovic for PSN News.
Voting polls were open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. statewide. Results from the elections are continuing to reach their final tallies this evening.
The Democratic Party continued to have a say in Pennsylvania with a win for Paul Takeak. The Democratic official will represent Pennsylvania's 82nd district in the State House of Representatives. Takeak received a majority 56.1% of votes. Takeak defeated Republican Justin Barron's in this election. There were no incumbents in this race as the 82nd district was recently redrawn. This new district now includes all of Penn State University, making it an interesting election to keep an eye on this year. During his time in Harrisburg, Takeak said he plans to work in a bipartisan way to advance the interests of the Commonwealth.
Another incumbent official took home a victory last night in Pennsylvania. Republican State House Representative Carrie Benninghoff won in the 171st District. Benninghoff came out with a large majority win, taking 72% of district votes over his Democrat opponent, Robert Ziegler. This will be Benninghoff's 14th term in the State House, where since 2020, he has served in the number 2 leadership position. The Republican said in his upcoming term, he wants to see Pennsylvania become the envy of the East through its workforce, education, research institutions, and natural resources. Daylight savings has the sun setting earlier and the temperatures are continuing to drop. Caitlin Kitch with Campus Weather Service has more details in this week's weather report. Take a look.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Good evening, I'm student meteorologist Caitlin Kitch with the Penn State Campus Weather Service, here with your PSN forecast. Taking a look at our live cam right now, those clear skies we saw for the day today are continuing into this evening, giving us a beautiful sunset tonight. We can see those colors out over Beaver Stadium. Currently here in State College, sitting at 52 degrees, so our temperatures are slightly above average for this time of year. So the big story for the rest of this week, as I mentioned, we will be seeing temperatures remaining slightly above average as we head into the latter portions of this week. But heading into Friday, could see those effects from Tropical Storm Nicole heading our way. And as we head through the weekend, we will see a drop in those temperatures heading into Sunday. Looking at our temperatures right now across the region, the majority of the region sitting in the 50s. And if we take a broader look at the rest of Pennsylvania, we see that trend continuing across the state. Looking at our current radar right now, not much of anything anywhere in Pennsylvania right now. The majority of the state should see a pretty clear evening. And if we take a look at our future radar, we see as we head into the night tonight, that trend continues, mostly clear skies for the rest of the evening. Throughout the night tonight, could see a chance for some cloud cover in eastern Pennsylvania, but aside from that, some beautiful clear skies continuing into tomorrow morning. These clear skies continue as we head through the day tomorrow, but as we get into the evening, this is where things get interesting. We'll start to see some cloud cover build up from the south as we head into tomorrow evening, and progressing through the night, we'll see that cloud cover increasing across the entire state. Now, getting into those early morning hours, we will see the impacts of the precipitation from the remnants of Tropical Storm Nicole making their way up towards Pennsylvania. By 8:30 tomorrow morning, the majority of the state will be seeing precipitation. We will be seeing some localized areas of heavier rain, currently down by Harrisburg, some up in the northwestern portions of the state. But as the storm moves across the state, the majority of the regions will be seeing localized areas of heavier rain. Now, if we take a broader look at our Euro model as we head through the day Friday, we'll see the majority of Pennsylvania will be seeing rain at some point throughout the day on Friday, and probably lots of it. As we head through Friday night into Saturday morning, we'll see the bulk of the storm move off to the northeast, some lingering showers and cloud cover hanging around, but most of the precipitation out of the way in time for the game. As we head into Saturday night, we will see a couple more showers, and we'll have a cold front move through in the early morning hours heading into Sunday, giving us a drop in temperatures and a chance for some snow Sunday in the northern portions of the state. Now, as I mentioned before, we are seeing those remnants from Tropical Storm Nicole later this week. So what is happening right now? We can see the storm forming off the coast of Florida, making its way towards the state. They should expect to see impacts later tonight. For tonight here in State College, expect a low of 36 out there, but those clear skies continuing. And for tomorrow, no surprises here, more sunshine, a beautiful day ahead with highs of 61. Looking at our 7-day outlook, as I mentioned, we're seeing those above average temperatures for the remainder of the week. We will have a bit of a washout on Friday for Veterans Day, clearing up as we head into this weekend, but seeing a bit of a cold front moving through, dropping our temperatures. We see our high temps only in the 40s for the beginning of next week, but otherwise a beautiful start to the week. From the Penn State Campus Weather Service, I'm student meteorologist Caitlin Kitch. Have a great evening.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Morgan Bull with your sports update. Penn State women's soccer finished its season with a huge success. They became Big Ten champions after defeating Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament. The Nittany Lions defeated the Badgers 1-0 and the Wildcats 2-0. The Spartans gave Penn State a tough time. However, the Nittany Lions ended up prevailing and winning 3-2. This was a large victory for the Blue and White since last season Michigan defeated them 3-1 in the quarterfinals round of the tournament.
Although the women's team was successful, the men's team was not. They ended up losing to Indiana 1-0 in the first round of the tournament. Coach Erica Dombach is now getting the women's team ready to head into the double NCAA tournament. The first game of the tournament will be played at 1 p.m. on Sunday, November 13th at Jeffrey Field against Quinnipiac. Penn State men's basketball has officially started the 2022-23 season. Last season, the team went 14-17 overall. The Nittany Lions were matched up against Winthrop on Monday and ended up defeating them 93-68. The Nittany Lions went into halftime 44-32 and were able to keep the lead until the buzzer went off. Penn State had a program record totaling 18 three-pointers during the match. The team is off to a hot start so far. The Blue and White are getting ready to host Loyola Maryland tomorrow at 7 p.m. in the Bryce Jordan Center. On Monday night, the Baltimore Ravens were matched up against the New Orleans Saints. It was a low-scoring game as the Ravens ultimately defeated the Saints 27-13. The Saints threw one interception during the game. The Ravens outplayed the Saints with a total of 319 yards, while the Saints finished the game with 243. The Saints coach Dennis Allen said, quote, "They beat us in a lot of different areas," end quote. The Saints quarterback, Andy Dalton, said, quote, "They deserved to win this one. They got after us," end quote. Looking ahead, the Saints face off against the Steelers next Sunday, and the Ravens' next game isn't until November 20th against the Panthers. That's all for your sports update. After the break, Gabrielle Tyner has the latest updates from the entertainment world. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.
Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News.
Penn State Network News is a student-produced, bi-weekly live news show featuring all student talent.
From local and national news to sports, entertainment, weather, and live interviews, we have it all.
We also feature student-made packages from across campus.
Airing every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m.
We are PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State. Hey everyone, we are Red Carpet News, your main source of entertainment news at Penn State University.
Man, this festival is going to be popping.
I'm Alex Porzillo, here with Aiden Harold.
He's going to 23rd with Daddy Elon Warbucks to actual space away from Kim.
So in sync, especially during Kendrick's part when they came out, reporting on anything from music, movies, TV shows, fashion, to celebrity gossip. You don't want to miss out on any of the hot topics we discuss.
Find our segments on YouTube under the name Red Carpet News for your daily dose of entertainment.
We are Red Carpet News.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Gabrielle Tyner with your entertainment update. Penn State will be hosting its annual Veterans Day ceremony on November 11th at Heritage Hall. The event serves to honor veterans of the U.S. Armed Forces. The ceremony will take place at 11:11 a.m., honoring those who have served or are currently serving in the military. The event is organized by the Penn State University Veterans Organization. The group invited Penn State alumnus Rear Admiral Stephen Tedford to guest speak at the ceremony. The event will also be live streamed at watch.psu.edu/MAW. In local news, the Center Film Festival took place last week. The festival featured a documentary titled Of Medicine and Miracles on Friday in Phillipsburg. The documentary features Emily Whitehead, a Four Diamonds child. With the help of many, Whitehead made history with CAR T-cell therapy as she battled lymphoblastic leukemia. She was the first pediatric patient to receive CAR T-cell therapy and is now 10 years cancer-free. The film has won 5 awards in multiple festivals around the country. Whitehead's parents were honored at the festival with the Chandler Living Legacy Award in honor of Penn State professor Kurt Chandler, who passed away of cancer in January of 2022. The Center Film Festival featured several other films in the week-long event and showcased the hard work of filmmakers from around the globe. Field reporter Scott Stranix has more details. Take a look.
For its 4th year, Center Film Fest returned to theaters. Narrative films and documentaries, both feature-length and short, were played in State Theater and the Roland Theater from Monday through Saturday. Films were drawn in from all over, including Ukraine and Iran. Nights began with a social and photo shoot. Then, with just enough time to get some popcorn, the lights dimmed and the movies began. Filmmakers in attendance, 28 over the course of the festival, walked on stage after the binge to engage in a Q&A with the audience.
Turning after 30 years. So this film took us nearly 7 years to finish. We started in 2015.
Midway through the festival, co-creator and artistic director Pearl Gluck reflected with PSN News.
First of all, I'm just so glad that so many people have stayed and students have stayed for the conversation, especially students, because I think especially today, we had some really, and this is going to continue, but we had great storytellers and filmmakers.
After parties that followed were hosted by First, Three Dots, Webster's, and Chumley's. Tickets for the event were priced at $10 per night, but students with valid ID got to watch for free. On Sunday, the jury's top films were awarded, along with some worthy Penn Staters.
We have inaugurated a Chandler Living Legacy Award in my co-founder's memory, Kurt Chandler, and we're actually honoring someone who's local this year and who thought to pick up a camera and tell their story. And that's the Whitehead family, about Emily Whitehead and their struggle with cancer and then how they changed research in cancer.
The Center Film Fest may be over, but you can catch up on all the movies you may have missed for just $1. Visit centerfilm.org for all the details. For PSN TV, I'm Scott Stranix.
To find out more information on the results of the festival, visit centerfilm.org. On a national note, since Tesla founder Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion, many celebrities are deciding to leave the platform. Celebrities have left include love song singer Sarah Bareilles, Toni Braxton, Gigi Hadid, and Alex Winter. Shonda Rhimes also left, sending a final tweet saying, quote, "Not hanging around for whatever Elon has planned. Bye," end quote. Whoopi Goldberg announced that on The View that she will also be done with Twitter. The Washington Post disclosed the new Contagion Research Institute, which discovered the use of the N-word on Twitter increased 500% in just 12 hours after Elon announced his takeover of the platform. Racial slurs against Black and Jewish people, as well as messages against women and the LGBTQ+ community, have also increased. That's all for your entertainment update. After the break, interview anchor Amanda Weissman will be speaking to the president of Lying Caucus at Penn State, Ben Browser. Stay tuned.
Ready, mics? 3, 2, fade in on 2, mic and cue.
This is Nittany Talk.
I would say spring.
Slow down.
When he knew that, how do you say
I know.
She continues to hold her values and everything
Yeah.
though. And I think that that's really important.
So yeah, and self-care Saturday.
And you lose a lot of sleep.
Yes, agreed.
It's
Yeah.
hard to say.
Hey everyone, welcome to Culture Central. My name is Jaden Stewart,
What's good, everybody? My name is Eric Pichardo, and we are your hosts
creators
and executive producers of Culture Central. Is this Whitney Houston?
We're doing things that have never been done before. So welcome to the family.
If you don't include human beings, you cannot accurately model
the way the climate has changed over the last 50 years.
And I don't know that we're ever going to be free of some sort of bug.
That the natural state of motion for something to be in is to remain in its current state of motion.
I've been lucky enough to discover various things out there. Pulsars, exoplanets, and some other phenomena that ended up being interesting.
Hi, I'm Johnson Gary with Asking Penn State.
With Asking Penn State,
Asking Penn State.
Asking Penn State. Asking Penn State.
Welcome back to Asking Penn State.
Hello and welcome back to PSN News. I'm Amanda Weissman. Here with me tonight is Ben Browser, the Director of Government Affairs for UPUA and the President of Lion Caucus at Penn State. Thank you so much for coming in tonight, Ben.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Pleasure is ours. So what exactly is Lion Caucus and what does your role as president entail?
Lion Caucus is a student organization here at campus that's closely affiliated with the administration's Office of Government and Community Relations. So we work closely with them to communicate with state legislators to advocate for Penn State initiatives. Chief among those is our advocacy agenda to increase Penn State appropriations. You may be familiar that Penn State is a state appropriated school. That means we receive a certain endowment from the state of Pennsylvania. As an organization, we work closely with Penn State's Office of Government and Communications to reach out to those legislators and ask them to increase the annual appropriation for students.
Wow, that's amazing. So as president, is there anything that you specifically have to do for your role that goes hand in hand, or you guys kind of all just work together to do it?
I definitely think there are some unique obligations as the president. Certainly, I am the spokesperson for the organization, and in that capacity, I act as the liaison between the student side of the organization and the administration side. And a lot of the times, that means taking student concerns to administration, hearing what administration has to say, and then coming back to students with what we can realistically implement.
No, that's incredible. So with that being said, how do you engage with those students and figure out, okay, this is what they want, this is what they need, and actually voice their opinions to legislators? How do you engage with them?
One of our biggest challenges is making sure that we're reflecting the perspectives of all students here on campus. And that includes students from the Commonwealth campuses across Pennsylvania. We don't just want to be focused on students here at University Park. In order to reach out to them, I've worked closely with some of the other students that are involved in advocacy projects at campuses across the Commonwealth. There's the CCSG, they have a Director of Governmental Affairs, the UPUA, and several partisan organizations on campus that we closely communicate with. And we really look for feedback on what issues they're hearing from students. And then we ask how we can take that and evolve it into our own advocacy strategy.
So besides that, so after you talk with everyone, you kind of figure out what needs need to be done, wants, everything. How do you ensure that they kind of listen to you, that they're hearing everyone's voice?
So it is a challenge. We know that there are members of both political parties in the state house and that they're coming from different perspectives on Penn State appropriations, on issues like Pell Grants and Title IX. So we try to cater our asks to the representatives and what we know about them. So if we identify that a representative is representing a district with a Penn State campus, we'll approach them and talk about the economic impact that our campuses have had on their local community. And we really try to connect it with things that they can resonate with and that are relevant to their constituents. So when we have representatives that represent a Penn State district, we talk about how Penn State has created jobs in that community and provided educational opportunities to people throughout the Commonwealth.
So obviously yesterday was election day.
Certainly.
Yeah, I'm sure, honestly, we'll touch on this later, but the preparation. But how did you kind of engage with students too going into election day, making sure the candidates, everything? Did you guys do anything like seminars or?
Yeah, so I, as the Director of Government Affairs for the UPUA, was involved in a collaborative project that we call PSU Votes. And that is an umbrella organization that includes a lot of different groups on campus. One of the premier events that we hosted was the Penn State Votes debate, where we invited college Republicans, college Democrats, and college independents to the Hub Robinson Center. And we had a 2-hour debate with them on the topic of education. And I was a moderator for that event. We invited organizations across campus to come, and we had a very strong attendance. Over 100 students came to view the debate.
Oh, that's incredible. I was going to say the turnout must have been awesome. What did that, what exactly did that do for the organization and also for students? Do you know anything firsthand how?
Certainly. One of our best metrics for measuring success of the PSU Votes initiatives is seeing how many students register to vote. So as I saw earlier on PSN News, you guys were in the hub on the ground. We had numerous organizations there over the past several months, encouraging students to register to vote here in Center County, providing them with information on how to vote by mail, and also giving them resources to help them vote in their home districts. We saw a record registration among students to vote here in State College and to do mail-in ballots. So we were really excited to see students turning out to vote in yesterday's elections.
You guys should definitely be proud of all your initiatives you guys put in to kind of do that. So is there anything that you guys specifically did to prepare for yesterday's election day?
A lot of the work that goes into elections surprisingly happens months in advance. When we're trying to get students to register to vote, something that people often don't realize is that the deadline is far in advance of the actual election day. So if the day before election you realize you haven't registered, oftentimes that's already too late. So we try to get the word out about elections as far in advance as we can. We had meetings over the summer and began tabling as early as October to ensure that students were ready when election day came.
So besides kind of preparing for that, obviously you just said months in advance, you guys put a lot of work into this. How do you guys spread awareness leading up to actual election day?
A lot of our work is on the ground. Being in the hub, we know that's a heavily trafficked area. So we try to table in the hub very often. We bring out creamery ice cream for students as a way to draw them in and then speak to them about some of the reasons to vote as a student. Additionally, we've really been active on our social media platforms. I think engagement on the UPUA and Lion Caucus Instagrams has been phenomenal, as well as the other organizations that participate in Penn State Votes.
Incredible work. So before we wrap this up, I just wanted to know, obviously, students, not everyone's very educated on voting, whatever it is, but what would your advice be to someone that says, well, why would I vote? My vote doesn't matter.
My advice to students who feel like they don't know enough about the elections to have a meaningful vote is to really just take the time and look up some of the resources that are readily available. I don't believe that someone needs to be an expert in order to vote. That's a big part of democracy, is that people are supposed to be bringing their own perspectives, their own life experiences into the ballot. And you shouldn't discredit your own experiences just because you're not sure that you're an expert on a certain policy. I think that everyone has a unique and valuable perspective. As far as students' votes not counting, I think that they should just look at the election results from yesterday. There are numerous results that have yet to be declared because the races were so tight. And oftentimes we see entire elections coming down to a few thousand or a few hundred votes. So I would certainly argue that every vote matters.
I definitely agree with that. Great advice. So thank you so much for your time tonight. We really appreciate you being here. Next up, Madeline and Zachary will bring us the latest news from across the nation. We'll be right back.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.
Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News.
Penn State Network News is a student-produced, bi-weekly live news show featuring all student talent.
From local and national news to sports, entertainment, weather, and live interviews, we have it all.
We also feature student-made packages from across campus.
Airing every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m.
We are PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.
Hey everyone, we are Red Carpet News, your main source of entertainment news at Penn State University.
Man, this festival is going to be popping.
I'm Alex Porzillo, here with Aiden Harrell.
He's going to 23rd with Daddy Elon Warbucks to actual space away from Kim.
So in sync, especially during Kendrick's part when they came out, reporting on anything from music, movies, TV shows, fashion, to celebrity gossip. You don't want to miss out on any of the hot topics we discuss.
Find our segments on YouTube under the name Red Carpet News for your daily dose of entertainment.
We are Red Carpet News.
It looks like the endorsement by former President Donald Trump was not enough to snag a win for Republican Pennsylvania Senate candidate Mehmet Oz. The Pennsylvania Senate seat ended up going to Democrat John Fetterman, Pennsylvania's current lieutenant governor. In typical Pennsylvania style, the race was closely split, with Fetterman earning just over 50% of the vote. National attention was on this election as this was the first time a Senate seat was open in Pennsylvania in 12 years. There were also questions of capability for both candidates, with Fetterman having a stroke days before receiving his Democratic nomination in May, and Oz having minimal political experience as a former surgeon and TV personality. But with Fetterman going to Capitol Hill, Democrats hope to have bigger margins in the partisan divided Senate.
Coming in for his 15th term in the United States House of Representatives, Republican Glenn Thompson has another win under his belt. Thompson is the incumbent for the 15th Pennsylvania Congressional District and defeated Democrat opponent Mike Mlesevich. He received a large majority of votes, coming in with 70% of the total vote. Thompson has been a primary speaker on the House floor for the past 5 years and has served as the Republican leader for the House Agriculture Committee. As a prominent floor speaker, Thompson said that he has the opportunity to influence the Washington legislative agenda for the citizens of the 15th Congressional District.
Now, moving away from Election Day results, West Virginia's opioid crisis is going beyond party politics. It's been over a year since Charleston, West Virginia was declared the country's most concerning area for HIV outbreak due to IV drug use. Now, all three candidates running for city council in Charleston say that not enough has changed. Republican Dr. Frank Annie, Democrat Joe Solomon, and Independent Sheena Griffith say people are still divided. Solomon's nonprofit for addiction response handed out sterile syringes, which led others to complain about needle litter. Due to the division, state lawmakers passed new regulations requiring providers to be licensed and needle recipients to show a state ID. Annie and Griffith work at the Charleston Area Medical Center Memorial Hospital and want the city and hospital system to join forces on a harm reduction program.
Iowa authorities report an 18-year-old sex trafficking victim has escaped from a women's center where she was serving her probation sentence. Piper Lewis pleaded guilty to killing the man she said raped her. Lewis was seen walking out of the building of the Fresh Start Women's Center in Des Moines, Iowa, shortly after 6:15 a.m. last Friday. At some point, her GPS monitor was cut off. A warrant was issued for Lewis's arrest, and the probation report asked for her deferred judgment to be revoked and her original sentence imposed. Lewis could face up to 20 years in prison when caught and sentenced. Lewis pleaded guilty last year to the involuntary manslaughter and willful injury in the death of 37-year-old Zachary Brooks. Lewis was 15 when she stabbed Brooks more than 30 times in an apartment. That concludes our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.